30. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to call the meeting of the Drainage District Board of Directors to order. We'll start with a roll call to establish quorum.
Everardo Villarreal, Precinct 3.
Ellie Torres, Precinct 4.
Richard Cortez, County Judge, that constitutes a quorum of 3.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Singh, would you please lead us in today's prayer?
Certainly will, Judge. Emergency or no? We're good?
There's an alarm.
Okay, let us pray. All right, Father God, we continue to seek your clarity and your peace over all that's occurring in our country today. We know that you're with us and for us as we gather to seek your counsel. We continue to pray for the judge and the 4 commissioners you've appointed to lead this great county of ours. We pray for our mayor, school board members, city council, police chiefs, district attorney, sheriff, judges, and all who serve our local communities. We continue to ask for you to strengthen them with wisdom and grace for the heavy burdens they carry. May they manage their teams and projects with love. Continue to keep their hearts pure and their eyes turned towards your face as they work in the best interest of the people they're called to serve. And we continue to pray for the first responders and their families. We continue to lift them up to you. We ask for your grace, love, and wisdom be granted to the doctors and nurses dealing with the ill. And we ask for your hand of peace and comfort over them and their families. We continue to lift to you all those that are battling illnesses, Father God. We pray for David and his father and mother in the current conditions, Father God, and may your healing hand be over them and all that are sick as well, Father God. Provide their families with the peace that you can only bring through your Son, Jesus. And we continue to praise you for the healing that's come through you. We pray for those souls that have passed, and may they be at peace resting at your side. We pray for strength of all that have lost someone. May your strength carry them through all, and your grace, love, and mercy be over them. Lord Jesus, at times we look at our hearts and see that they are hard and bitter. They are ready to jump self-righteously at the first opportunity to condemn someone else, but only as to assure ourselves of our own moral superiority. Grant us a heart meek and humble like yours. Help us to see the good in others and grant us the grace to know your will and follow it in our lives. Scripture reminds us the more we seek you, the more we will find you. May we continue to seek you in everything we do, and we always work as we're working for you. Lead our surrendered hearts to the path of your peace today, and I ask all this in your Son Jesus' name. Amen.
Next item on the agenda is open forum.
Mr. Magnus,
There are no participants.
thank you.
We'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda.
Yes, for consent agenda, just normal operating procedures that we have. They've been vetted through by my staff. Everything's in order. We do recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 5A.
Yes, 5A, requesting approval to declare surplus for approximately 400,000 cubic, oh, I'm sorry. Is that correct? Yeah, 400,000, is that correct or no?
That's B. 5A. 5A.
Is
5A.
this one?
Interlocal agreement.
Interlocal agreement, okay, I apologize. All right, I apologize for that. 5A, yeah, requesting approval of interlocal cooperative agreement between Dow County by-in through the Dow County Urban County Program and Dow County Drainage District Number 1 as it relates to CDBG GLO Mitigation Program, GLO 2015 MIT, subject to final legal review.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And 5A2, requesting approval of interlocal cooperative agreement between Dow County by-in through the Dow County Urban County Program and Dow County Drainage District Number 1 as it relates to CBDG GLO Mitigation, GLO 2016 MIT, subject to final legal review.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 5B, requesting approval to declare surplus approximately 400,000 cubic yards of field dirt for 365 RMA outfall, approximate location South Military Road between Bryan and Benson Road, covering sites 1 through 4, as so much attempt was made for the sale and removal through RFP number ACDD 1-22-036-0720 ESZ, and that's advertised for 2 consecutive weeks, and no bids were received.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item C, requesting approval to include the UKG Ready Payroll and UKG Ready Payroll Services module as described in order form to the existing professional service engagement overview agreement with Kronos SAS SHR Inc., a UKG company, in the initial amount of $19,000 and $10,500 annually thereafter through the ACD1 membership participation with Omnia Cooperative Contract Number 18221, subject to legal review.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Item D, requesting approval of supplement number 4 to revise Exhibit C, Exhibit D, Exhibit D1, Exhibit D2 in relation to professional service with Half Associates, Inc. with agreement number CACDD 1-21-0030-518 in connection with Region 15 Lower Rio Grande Regional Flood Planning Group, subject to legal review.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item E, requesting approval of exemption for competitive bidding requirements on Texas Local Code 4927J for the purchase of replacement parts of components for equipment and vehicle equipment, repairs for Drainage District-owned vehicles, equipment, heavy equipment, and machinery from the vendors identified in detailed list attached here too on an as-needed basis through the established and approved procedures for the requisition and purchase order process.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item F, 1, requesting exemption for competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Chapter 262.024A7A, items for which competition is precluded because of existence of patents, copyrights, secret process, and monopolies in connection with DotSoft LLC for the software license updates, upgrades, maintenance, and technical support for the C3D Toolkit.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 2, approval of sole source declaration for DotSoft LLC for the purchase of C3D Toolkit extension software, updates, upgrades, maintenance, technical support in the amount of $1,060 unless upgrades are required, and as long as ACDD-1 possesses the software with sole source declaration to remain in effect unless otherwise revoked by the ACDD-1 Board of Directors.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 6A1, discussion and approval of DACON Generation 1, a resolution recognizing the necessity of acquiring easements or right-of-way or fee title in connection with the construction of Fayetteville Drain 2018 Bond Number 11A in Dow County, Texas, and authorizing the acquisition of said easements or right-of-way or fee title described in the resolution and exhibits thereto by condemnation, eminent domain, or otherwise single vote shall apply to all units of property described in said resolution.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 2, discussion and approval of Dow County District 1, a resolution recognizing the necessity of acquiring easements and right-of-way or fee title in connection with the construction of the Jackson Drain 2018 Bond Project Number 16 in Dow County, Texas, and authorizing the acquisition of said easements or right-of-way or fee title described in the resolution and exhibits thereto by condemnation, eminent domain, or otherwise. Single vote shall apply to all units of property described in said resolution.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. 6B, requesting approval of right of possession agreement for parcel 24E10 as it relates to Project 24, the 2018 Drainage Bond Program, mile 91015, and authority for Drainage District General Manager to execute document.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. C1, requesting approval to accept CSP response to award negotiated construction contract to the highest ranked contractor meeting all specified requirements Moreville LLC for CSP number ACDD 1-22-024-0726 J08 Drain Improvements 2018 Bond Referendum Project number 15B in the amount of $1,465,141.51 as approved for negotiation by the Board of Directors. Agenda item 86402 on 6/28/22, subject to legal review and compliance, House Bill 1295.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C2, pursuant to Texas Local Government Code 262031, in the interest of expediting project's progress, requesting authority approval of Drainage District General Manager to execute change orders that involve an increase and decrease in cost of $50,000 or less. In no event to exceed the change order statutory limits, the original contract price may not be decreased by 18% or more without the consent of the contractor.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item D1, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 2 in the professional engineering service contract CACDD 1-1904507001 with South Texas Infrastructure LLC for the project Mile 11 North FM 1015 2018 Bond Referendum Project number 22 to reflect a revised Exhibit D work schedule with an extended termination date for construction-related services to July 31st, 2023, subject legal review in compliance with House Bill 1295. So this is one of our projects that is currently in liquidated damages, but we're extending it for the construction after visiting with legal counsel. We've drafted the correct language to extend through construction in hopes that they'll catch up with the design timeline and schedule, and then all liquidated damage will stop. But there are still liquidated damage even with this extension.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. D2, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 2 to work session number 1, the professional engineering service contract, CCDD 1-1904500701, South Texas Infrastructure Group LLC for the project Mile 11 North 1015 2018 Bond Referendum Project number 22, reflect revised period of service to end July 31st, 2023. Subject legal review and compliance, House Bill 1295.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Item E1, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 3 to the professional engineering service contract, CATD 1-19-022-0409 with Alpha Infrastructure Engineering PLC for the project Southwest Westaco 2018 bond referendum project number 35 to reflect the revised Exhibit D work schedule and with an extended termination date for construction-related services to December 30th, 2023, subject to legal review and compliance with House Bill 1295. This is another one that is in liquidated damage for design already. We are extending the construction, as I said on the previous item, based on legal advice, and we're in hopes that this consultant will catch up with the design timeframe, and liquidated damage will stop at that time.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried.
E2, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 2 to work session number 1 of the professional service engineering service contract, CACD 1-19-022-0409 with Alpha Infrastructure Engineering PLC for the project Southwest Westaco 2018 bond referendum project number 35 to reflect the revised period of service to end December 30th, 2023, subject to legal review and compliance with House Bill 1295.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. F1, requesting acceptance and approval of certificate of statute completion and certificate of construction completion for Memorial LLC pertaining to PD lateral phase 2 construction contract, CSDD 1-20-02906-23.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. F2, approval application payment number, retainage in the amount of $184,601.47 and $415.14 in interest from Orwell LLC pertaining to PD lateral phase 2 construction contract, CSD 1-20-029-0623. Everything's in order. Recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
7A1, requesting acceptance and approval of certificate of substantial completion and certificate of construction completion for Sign Brothers Construction pertaining to PSJ lateral construction contract, CSD 1-20-063-11-12.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
7.2, requesting approval of application payment of retainage in the amount of $532.30 plus interest of $112.32 from Science Brothers Construction pertaining to PSJ lateral construction contract, CSCD 1-20-063-11-12. Everything's in order. Recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We do have a couple of real estate matters.
Okay, pursuant to Subchapter D of the Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, we'll be retiring into closed session to discuss items listed under Code Section 551.072 and 55.1074. May I have a motion to adjourn to closed session?
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It is 1:42. Okay, we're back from closed session. It's 1:59. We do have an action item.
Under item 9A, a motion is required to authorize Mr. Sassine and his staff to proceed as discussed in the closed meeting.
Motion made.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. I believe that concludes all our agenda items. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
Second.
Thank
All
you.
in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Are we live? I now call the meeting of the Commissioners Court to order. We'll start with a roll call to establish quorum.
Eddie Cantu, precinct 2.
Everardo Villarreal, precinct 3.
Ellie Torres, precinct 4?
Richard Cortez, County Judge. That constitutes a quorum. As is customary, we have a Marine with us that's going to help us with the Pledge of Allegiance, Edilberto Lopez. He served from 2015 to 2019. He had the rank of corporal and worked for our county juvenile boot camp. Mr. Lopez?
Sir, good afternoon.
Please lead us in the pledge.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Lopez, and thank you for your service.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Today, we're also led in prayer by our own county budget officer, Vidal Roman. Mr. Roman?
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Heavenly Father, we come before you in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, asking for your guidance and wisdoms in the decisions that will be made today. We ask you to take care of those that are homeless and feed those that are hungry, and all those that are out there in peril. Keep them safe and under your wings. We ask this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda.
Yes, Judge, Commissioners, with your permission, I'd like to pull from consent agenda item 10A, 1 and 2. The balance of the consent agenda is in order.
Make a motion to approve the rest of the
Second.
consent.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, consent agenda item 10A, 1 and 2. I did see Commissioner Fuentes' icon a little while ago, but for the sake of abstaining, Commissioner Fuentes is abstaining officially from any discussion and/or action on consent agenda item 10A, 1 and 2. With that being said, if we could have a
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let the record show that Commissioner Fuentes abstained from any action or discussion or voting on this matter. Next, we're going to open forum.
Yes, sir, we do have 13 participants. Let me make a statement, and then I'm going to do this by groups. I'd like to remind the public that they're always welcome to participate in public forum. They need to be familiar with the rules of decorum, which prohibits direct and indirect personal attacks on members of the court or any county individuals. The comments made should also pertain to county business and cannot be threatening in nature.
Me gustaría recordarle al público que siempre son bienvenidos a participar en el foro abierto. Tienen que estar familiarizados con las reglas de decoro que prohíben ataques directos o indirectos a los miembros de la Corte o cualquier individuo del condado. Los comentarios deben de pertenecer a los asuntos del condado y no pueden tener ninguna amenaza de cualquier naturaleza.
Okay, so we do have 13 participants, but within this group, I do have 5 or so individuals that will be talking about spay and neutering. So with that being said, I'm going to ask for a representative of the SANA, S-A-N-A, spay and neutering, a representative to speak on behalf of the group, as it's all on the same subject matter. So I'm going to ask, with your permission, I'm sorry, Mr. Magnus, I'm going to go by the order that I have in the signing sheet, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, hold on. Is there someone leading that group?
Well, right now I have,
I think someone is representing that you're leading the group.
right. So for the spay and neutering, who will be the representative? Okay, and you would be Ms. Smith? If I could ask you to come to the podium.
We have permission for 2 other individuals to speak also.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, there is a 3-minute time limit for individuals, but since you're there as a group, I'm going to afford essentially 10 minutes for the entire group. If you'd like to split your time with the other 2 members, that's fine, but that'll address the members here. Okay, so Ms. Smith, if you will, and, oh, yes, where's my interpreter? No, there she is. So essentially, if you could just let everyone know that the spay and neutering group is going to have 10 minutes, split up into 3 individuals for their.
They are joining us.
Yes. So if you could, ma'am. If you could also announce it to the audience, so everybody understands.
El grupo que va a pasar se va a dividir en 3, por 3 minutos, entre 10 personas.
No, tres individuals?
3 personas
10 minutos.
y van a tener 10 minutos para hablar.
Okay, thank you. So Ms. Smith, I will start when you start, and I will give you a 3-minute intervals.
Okay. Good afternoon, Judge Cortez and Hidalgo County Commissioners. I am Michelle Smith. I'm here on behalf of 4 organizations to request that Hidalgo County budget for fiscal year 2023 include funding for a full-time veterinarian and veterinarian technician who will provide free or low-cost spay and neutering surgeries at 1 or more locations in Hidalgo County. At the same time we seek funding, we also need to identify veterinarians that are willing to move to Hidalgo County. RGV Low Cost Spay and Neuter Clinic has been trying to hire a second veterinarian since August of 2020, but has been unable to do so, especially because of the additional challenges posed by the COVID pandemic in recent years. We are requesting that $200,000 be included in the fiscal 2023 Hidalgo County budget in order to fund a veterinarian technician, and administrative personnel. Out of this, $150,000 would be set aside for spay-neuter surgeries, and $50,000 be set aside for educational program. With a $150,000 budget, we anticipate being able to sterilize between 500 to 600 dogs and cats a month once a veterinarian's been hired. The $50,000 education program, we will educate the county residents on the importance of sterilization of pets and overall animal welfare. We also anticipate submitting monthly progress reports to your offices, providing you the number of dogs and cats that have been sterilized using county funds. As you know, the number of free-roaming dogs and cats in Hidalgo County is staggering. Many of these dogs and cats live on the streets 24/7. Others belong to someone but are left to wander freely and often intact. Whether they're homeless or just left to wander, they present a risk to public safety. By reproducing, they increase the severity of our problem we already have. Our 4 organizations believe that a necessary part of the solution for this problem is Hidalgo County to provide funding to increase the availability of low-cost spay-neuter services. RGV Low-Cost Spay-Neuter Clinic, and private rescue organizations such as Yaqui Animal Rescue are currently providing spay-neuter surgeries, but not enough to meet the need. RGV Low-Cost Spay-Neuter Clinic is staffed by 1 veterinarian, and as of now, it can take up to 3 months to get a large dog appointment to get spay-neutered. Animal shelters in Hidalgo County have had a high euthanasia rate in recent years. And when shelters come under pressure to kill fewer animals, they often turn animals away, which then they're free to roam the streets, which is going to exacerbate an already serious problem. Hidalgo County and our municipalities face the difficult situation of large numbers of dogs and cats needing to be sterilized, but not enough veterinarians to meet the need. Spay and Neuter Advocates of Hidalgo County, SANA, we were formed in 2022 to address the shortage of spay and neuter services by requesting funds from our Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, as well as seeking other private and public sources of funding.
3 minutes.
Thank you for considering our request.
Okay. Next representative.
Good afternoon, Judge Cortez and Commissioners. I am John Vallejo. I am the clinic manager at the RGV Low Cost Spay Neuter Clinic. I'm here to speak on behalf of the clinic and its board of directors. First, let me say we applaud the Texas Animal Fund and the Spay Neuter Advocates of Hidalgo County for their efforts and are proud to lend our support in this program. Just a little about our clinic. We're a nonprofit organization. We're a high volume of spay neuter. We've been established since 2009. Since our opening, we have performed more than 75,000 spay neuters surgeries for our pets here in the Rio Grande Valley. We have provided these services to the public, local rescues, and valley animal centers by employing a full-time veterinarian and contracting with a part-time local and our out-of-town veterinarian whenever possible. Our clinic has been in operation for almost 13 years now, and we have kept our doors open through many difficult times, the most difficult being the loss of veterinarians throughout the years. Today, we continue to serve the public with 1 full-time veterinarian and a very dedicated staff. As mentioned in the request, we have found it a challenge to find veterinarians to keep up with the high demand. That being said, our focus today is for the county to support this request for help. We're all here with one unit mission: to reduce the number of cats and dogs entering local rescues and animal centers, to reduce the number of stray animals on our county streets. Please know we are here as a clinic to assist in any way possible. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. And our third representative?
I would like to ask that we allow these members just to come up and say that they are for. Is that okay? And then I would speak last. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
I'm all for it, and we need to stop. Dog is man's best friend, and we are failing him, so we need to do something. There are too many neglected, abandoned dogs and cats on the streets of the Rio Grande Valley, and we have a really bad reputation for that, so we really need this. So I hope you really take this into consideration. Thank you.
My name is Laila Monteforte. I'm one of the founders of the RGV Low Cost Spay Neuter Clinic, and I support of the budget for the 4 organizations.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sharon Ruggieri. I'm a board member for the RGV Low Cost Clinic, and we really need your support. We're doing all we can, but we really need your help. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mona Burns, and I'm a board member with RGV Low Cost Spay Neuter Clinic. And we do need your help. I'm all for this, so please help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sonia Venecia, founder of Yaqui Animal Rescue. You've heard why we're here. I just want to tell you that I've been doing this since 2000. And we can't wait. We can't just sit back and do nothing anymore. We can't. It's out of control, and every day it gets worse. We're like living seriously in a third world country here. If you go out to the county roads, you're not going to believe what you see. And this is the United States of America. This can't continue anymore. We need your help. Please consider what we're asking you for, because this can't go on anymore. Please, thank you.
You have approximately 3 minutes.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Commissioners. As you've heard today, we need your help. Spay and Neuter Advocates of Hidalgo County was formed in 2022 to address the issue of spay and neutering by requesting funds from our Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, as well as seeking other private and public funding. We are here today to reemphasize that we need your help. At the same time that we are seeking funding, we have also requested that we assist you in helping identify these veterinarians willing to help our Hidalgo County. The low-cost clinic has been trying, as you know, to receive this veterinarian in, and we desperately need leadership. We need commitment. We need an answer. We need your yes on this. We are requesting that $200,000 be included in the fiscal year 2023 from precincts and help with private sector as well as fundraising, which we have membership for that. We have a strong executive board with SANA, Paws for Help, Animal Fund, Texas Animal Fund, Yaqui Animal Rescue, and RGV Low Cost. Out of this $200,000, the $150,000 would be set aside for spay and neutering services, surgeries, and $50,000 for the education program, as you have heard earlier. With a $150,000 budget, we anticipate, as you know, to sterilize 500 and 600 dogs and cats a month. This is an outstanding number, but again, it does not even touch what our problem is. With the $50,000 that we need for education, we can go out into the communities. As you know, this is vital for public health. This is vital for education and for welfare of not only people, but of the animals.
1 minute.
The importance of sterilization of pets is very important to our country, very important to the state, and extremely important for South Texas, as we are the #1 worst-case scenario in our Texas state. How appalling. As you know, these numbers of dogs and cats are roaming, and we need to be the answer to man's best friend, to the cats, the kittens, dogs, and puppies. Please, Commissioners and Judge, please hear us. Please help us find these funds in our budget so that we can better serve our county, our constituents, and our animals. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I just want to one more thing that is very important to mention, and it's not done often, is all the money that the cities are going to save by doing all of this. Because they have to pay for all the animals that enter the shelter. And by doing all of these, we're going to prevent so many animals entering the shelter. So really, the cities are going to save so much. They already pay so much money for that. So it's very important that they really pay attention and see what has to be done to go forward and do things better. Thank you.
Thank you. Next participant is Silvestre Moreno. Mr. Moreno? Mr. Moreno, there's a 3-minute time limit. I'll advise you when there is 1 minute left, and I will start when you start.
Yes, my name is Silvestre Moreno Jr. I live in Mercedes, Texas. I had a little incident this past Thursday. I need to give you a little background on what happened. I'm trying to open a business. I have one business. I want to try to open another business. I had a little problem at the bank in Mercedes. I don't know what happened there. I went to the, oh, by the way, excuse me. I want to thank the judge and the members of the commission for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Getting back to the story. So I went down to the San Juan branch of a bank. I'm not going to mention the bank. Anyway, there they were very courteous, very professional, and they told me that in order to establish another business, I would have to get a permit from the county clerk's office, and they warned me that it was going to be chaotic. And sure enough, when I came here about, I'd say it was about 12:50. I couldn't find any space, so I basically came around Klausner here, and I turned right. The first parking space that I saw, of course, was right here about kind of middle of the block there. First thing I did, of course, I started walking. I'm a little bad with I have a bad knee. Anyway, I started looking for signs saying, no trespassing, sidewalk is closed. I crossed the street here, there wasn't anything. I kept on looking. There wasn't any signs, and of course it was very hot, extremely hot. So basically, I'm reading the application for the permit from the county clerk's office. During that time, I kind of tripped, and when I tripped, I almost fell. I think I contained my balance for about 20 feet. The only thing that saved me was I grabbed the chain link fence, and that saved me. I almost fell, but and the first thing I started doing is looking for county.
1 minute. You have 1 minute, sir.
Oh, basically, you got me off, but let me. I asked for help from the construction workers. They kind of got hostile, but once that happened, it was okay. And then I had one supervisor, the electrical company. He actually went around. He said, "Sir, there aren't any signs. The only sign that was very evident was here at the gate. It says no trespassing," something like that. So basically, during this time I called 911. I don't know where it's located, and called them 3 times. It took them about 30 minutes. The first thing they asked me is it an emergency? I said, no, but I think it is. And they finally sent a police officer from Edinburgh. And of course, we got kind of heated, not the officer, but the other gentleman from the construction company.
Right.
And basically, we calmed down, and I told them it's very dangerous, the situation there. It's a little between the concrete and the asphalt, about half an inch. And of course, I was reading. The first thing the police officer said is, "You were reading and walking?" He said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, you shouldn't be doing that." They said, "Well, then you should be wearing a hat then. It's too damn hot.
Mr.
You can
Moreno,
hurt."
That's time, sir.
Thank you. That it?
That's time.
Okay. May I finish or not?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
How much more time do you need?
2 minutes.
Well, 2 minutes, then we can't give you 2 minutes.
1 minute?
We can't give you 2 minutes. We have
1 minute?
to abide by the rules, and I apologize.
Your Honor, 1 minute, please.
We have to abide by the
Thank you, sir.
rules.
Thank-
We have a 3-minute rule.
I thank you.
Thank you very much.
All of you gentlemen and
Next-
lady.
next
for
one.
giving me time.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Next participant is Juan Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez? Mr. Rodriguez, there's a 3-minute time limit. Hay un límite de 3 minutos. Yo le aviso cuando le sobra 1 minuto, ¿ok?
Ok. Señor juez, señores comisionados, muy buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Juan Antonio Rodríguez, soy de la colonia del Flaco Chiquito y soy miembro de Lupe. El propósito de estar aquí este día es para hablar del alumbrado. Esta es la tercera vez que venimos a hablar de esto. Y venimos a hablar de esto porque no hemos visto ningún trabajo en la colonia de movimiento de trabajo, de obras de estas instalaciones. Es que dicho alumbrado es muy importante para la comunidad de nuestra colonia. Quisiéramos tener una respuesta sobre esto y quisiéramos también pedir si nos podía dar el señor comisionado Everardo una cita en sus oficinas para hablar al respecto, para ver qué es lo que está sucediendo, por qué no se ha podido empezar las obras en esta colonia. Gracias.
Thank you, sir. Gracias.
Commissioners, good afternoon. Hello, my name is Juan Antonio Rodriguez. I am from the colonia of El Flaco Chiquito, and I am a member of Lupe. The reason that we're here is to talk about the public lighting. This is the third time that we've been here, and we haven't seen any work being done or any movement for this issue. And we keep coming because public lighting is very important for this community of our colonia. We would like to have an answer about this, and we would like to request a meeting in Commissioner Everardo's offices to talk about why any work hasn't been done yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Next presenter is Yanipe Esparza? Oh, I'm sorry, disculpe. Yani Esparza. Hay un límite de 3 minutos. Yo le aviso cuando le sobra 1 minuto.
Sí,
¿Ok?
está bien.
Ok.
Hola, buenas tardes. Primero que nada, gracias por permitirnos hablar con ustedes. Mi nombre es Yanis Esparza, soy miembro de la Lupe y nosotros somos residentes de la colonia Polmex, que son las calles Serenidad Avenida y Carlos Cerco. Una colonia muy transitada ya que está conectada a Benson Palm Drive y Homa Road, por lo cual nos lleva a nuestra petición. Queremos que si por favor tomen en consideración poner lomas de velocidad, ya que han pasado muchos accidentes y han ocurrido diferentes situaciones en las cuales estamos muy preocupados por la seguridad de nuestros hijos, mascotas, de nosotros en general en nuestro hogar. Ha habido accidentes, ha habido muchos perros que han sido atropellados y iguales accidentes que ya han pasado literal dentro de nuestros hogares, que pasan los accidentes adentro de nuestros hogares y ha sido una preocupación para nosotros. En una ocasión, su asistente Aníbal, hablando con usted, comisionado, su asistente Aníbal fue testigo de cómo pasaban los carros y se quedó sorprendido. Tenemos años batallando con esta situación y queremos una solución lo más pronto posible. Nos gustaría reunirnos con usted lo más pronto para encontrar una solución para esta petición, ya que el condado no tiene un proceso, nosotros tratamos de hacer uno para que sea ayuda para otras personas que tienen el mismo problema que nosotros. De antemano le agradecemos por lo que han hecho por nosotros, el alumbrado, por pasar por la basura, pero esto nos ha consternado por mucho tiempo, ya por muchos años. Muchas gracias y quisiera ¿Puedo pasar para entregarle la petición?
Hello, good afternoon. First of all, thank you for allowing us to speak to all of you. My name is Janice Esparza. I'm a member of the Lupe and Nosotros. We are residents of the Colonia Palmex that is in Serenidad Avenue and Carlos Circle Streets, a very busy colonia that has a lot of traffic and is connected to Benson Pulp Drive and Homa Road. This is the reason for our petition. We want for all of you to consider putting bump stoppers for velocity, since there have been many accidents and multiple situations that have occurred, and we are very concerned for our kids and our pets' safety and overall all our home safety. There's been many accidents where pets have been run by, and also accidents inside our home, and it's a constant concern. In one occasion, your assistant Anivo witnessed how cars went by and was very surprised. We have years of dealing with this situation and want a solution the fastest possible. We would like to gather with you the earliest possible to find a solution for this petition, since the county does not have a process for us to go by, and we have tried to make one so others can receive the same aid that may have this problem. We thank you beforehand for this public lights and for coming to pick up the garbage, and this has been a concern for many years. I'm also asking if I could come by to bring you our petition.
Thank you. Next participant is Ms. Fern McClarity. Ms. McClarity, there's a 3-minute time limit. I will advise you when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Well, don't start it yet. I wanted to know about the consent agenda that I had a question on.
You have a participation form, consent agenda item 7A.
Yes. And my question on that is that we're spending $1,140. Is this the magazine that it was put in?
I don't know, ma'am, but the advertisement was for
Well, I
hurricane
understand,
awareness.
yeah. Well, I just wondered, because I don't think that everyone gets that, and that's why I was wondering on that one.
Okay.
All right. I am going to start today by making some comments about the courthouse drain line and its impact on the Edinburgh business community. It is interesting to me that Hidalgo County has not made any effort to advise the people who will be impacted on how this trench will be constructed and what efforts have been made to safeguard the businesses and the jobs of the people who work there. This is Hidalgo County's project, and there have been no meetings held. In fact, the Hidalgo County District Attorney has advised the Owls that our request for information concerning a public project has been denied. So why is it that we want to know? What is it we want to know? When the construction will start, what efforts will be made to keep these businesses alive during the construction, and how traffic routes will be modified during the construction. The 2-year construction time is devastating. It is reasonable to believe that customers will simply go to other businesses, which is easier to access. Employees will find jobs where there are more customers, and once they leave, they will not come back to Edinburgh. Why is the county not wanting the public to know about this information? And to add insult to injury, here comes the property tax increase. Businesses will not survive this 1-2 punch because it is another effort to destroy our community. The Hidalgo County Commissioner Court needs to understand that people do not believe that you care. The county has sold $428 million in bonds, and every year you spend more. 3 cents from the tax rate, 4 cents from the property tax increase by the appraisal district. The county bond council estimated that it would take 7 cents increase each year to pay the expenditures by this court. Each of you have at one time said the poverty is a significant problem here, and you sell bonds and you employ more people.
1 minute.
This court is creating poverty by the actions you take. A perfect example is the courthouse. It will operate as it has in the past. Half the time it won't be open. We know discussing a new pandemic. building a new jail, employing more people. When you grow the government, you increase poverty. I have two questions. Is it true that the budget office is reviewing invoices for approval? Second, isn't it by law invoices need to be reviewed and approved for payment by the county auditor? And I do have some others that I signed up. Let's see if I get called on those. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next participant is Mr. Arthur Flores. Mr. Flores? Oh, I apologize. Mr. Flores, there's a 3-minute time limit. I will advise you when there's 1 minute, and I will start when you start, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you for listening to me today. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. My topic is safe and effective. Today we're going to have a little audience participation, and I need a volunteer. Just stand right there. This is the person in the White House that some people say is the president. 2 shots of the vaccine. Multiple shots of the boosters. And you know what happened last week? What happened? You got COVID. So it is not effective. Thank you. Safe. 1 year ago and 3 months, in April 2021, an Edinburgh dad took his son to get the Pfizer shot. He thought he was helping his son to be safe because this county, and Dr. Mengele, you know who I mean, encouraged children to get the COVID vaccine. Mengele did not tell the people that children had a 99.9% chance of surviving COVID. 5 days after that shot, Ernesto Ramirez Jr. was playing basketball with his friends. He collapsed. Edinburgh PD showed up, but they could not revive him. That was 15 months ago. You and Mengele keep pushing the vaccine for children's. Why? Audience participation. Any contractors in the room?
1 minute.
Any tractors or heavy equipment salesmen? Okay, let's say there's $20 to $30 million being spent for the drainage ditch project. Raise your hand if you promise you won't be making money on it. I'm not. Anybody else? Raise your hand if you promise you won't be making money on it. Who else? Government officials in the room? Officers? Are you going to be making money on this project? If you're not, raise your hand. No hands raised. Okay, I understand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next presenter is Mr. Emmanuel Martinez. Mr. Martinez? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, there you go. Mr. Martinez, there's a 3-minute time limit. I'll advise you when there's 1 minute, and I'll start when you start.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Judge, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to come again. I want to update you guys on the project. I came about 2-3 months ago requesting lighting. We're still in the process of getting lighting. So we're doing the petition. We're getting people on board. We are having a little bit of trouble with that extra taxing at the end of the year. Nobody likes extra taxes, but we're fighting so we can get lighting in our public areas. Today I would like to come and thank every one of the commissioners for heeding the call to the vigil that we had a couple of, I think it was a month ago. All of you guys answered, and so we thank you for that. But today, I would like to talk about a new mode of transportation here in the county. I believe that we can all benefit from this new mode of transportation. I would like to come back and have it as an agenda item so that I can thoroughly present to you all and get you guys to sign a petition so that we can take this to our Texas State House so we can get it approved and we can get the funding. A lot of the major cities have subway systems and things like that. And I believe that it'll benefit our county in a big time because, you know, we can commute from city to city faster. And I believe it will make us, it'll make it cheaper for us to move from city to city. So I just leave that there today so that, you know, I'm going to come back and put it on the agenda and I can present to you guys this plan so that you can sign my petition and back this up so we can present this at the House. And one last thing, I would like to thank Judge Cortez for taking my call in regards to the Community Service Agency. We are still working with them. So I want to thank you guys, thank you commissioners, and thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you. Next presenter is Ms. Dolores Del Rio.
Hello, everybody.
Ms. Del Rio, there's a 3-minute time limit. I'll advise when there is 1 minute, and I will start when you start.
Thank you. So I wanted to address item 12C, but before I do that, I have to tell you a little story. You know, I have a wonderful godson who actually earned his PhD in medical anthropology. And so you wonder what that is, right? It's like a epidemiologist on steroids. It's like a coroner with a historical perspective. And so I want to start with the question, why, with all this relief money that has come into this county and into our communities, has a coroner not been hired? I stopped counting with 20 epidemiologists, and what we know is that epidemiologists, for your information, collect data and they do analysis and then make suggestions for the public health, right? Without tissue examination, where does that data come from? Well, I assume that it comes from the CDC because there's a memorandum that you folks are about to approve, right? So if you want to look at tissue, you know, my godson looked at tons of tissue. That's what they do. And they use extraordinary devices, DNA devices, to arrive at a scenario, a diagnosis. So during this time of what I call the black magic virus, with all this money coming in and no coroner, and yet a JP can go out, and I don't know what gives them the medical authority, but claim someone died of COVID when they actually died of alcohol poisoning. So without tissue, you can't, thank you, you cannot arrive at actual data. And just if you're curious, you might talk to some of the undertakers and say, how is the embalming going with all these vaccinated, so-called vaccinated people? And they might tell you we're breaking our machines because there's so much claudication in their veins that we have to cut them open in order to put the embalming fluid in. Please stop promoting these very injurious jabs. They're not protective and they're deadly. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Ms. Mayra Hernandez. Ms. Hernandez? Ms. Hernandez, there's a 3-minute time limit. Hay un límite de 3 minutos. Yo le aviso cuando le sobra un minuto.
Sí, gracias.
Buenas tardes, mesa directiva de jueces y comisionados. Me les presento aquí ante ustedes. Mi nombre es Mayra Hernández. Yo soy residente de la colonia Polmex. Fui víctima de un accidente por exceso de velocidad el 16 de marzo de 2022. Por exceso de velocidad, ese día venía acompañada con mi hija pequeña de 3 años, que está ahí. Yo estaba parqueada fuera de mi casa. Recuerdo que me bajé, abrí el portón, me subí a mi camioneta y después ya no recuerdo nada. Fue tan fuerte el golpe que mi troca hizo un giro de 360 y yo quedé inconsciente. Vi toda mi vida en 5 segundos. No era mi tiempo y me regresaron, reaccioné. Hoy día pienso que si hubiese habido las lomas de velocidad, yo y mi hija no hubiese estado en ese accidente esa noche y la persona que venía de exceso de velocidad fue respetado las lomas de velocidad. Y yo hoy en día tuviera mi camioneta y no tuviera dolores de cabeza ni de pecho por causa de los golpes que sufrí esa noche. Del accidente y de esa noche del accidente, mi hija durmiera tranquila y no se levantara llorando en las noches. Por eso hoy 26 de julio de 2022, venimos ante ustedes para pedirles de favor que escuchen nuestra voz y pongan las lomas de velocidad para que fluya menos el exceso de velocidad y no haya tantos accidentes por causa del exceso de velocidad. Gracias.
Thank you. Gracias.
Good afternoon, board and judges and commissioners. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mayra Hernandez. I'm a resident of Polmex Colonia, and I was a victim of a velocity accident on March 16, 2022, due to speeding. And that day, I was with my 3-year-old daughter. She's here right now. While we were outside the house, I remember that I parked my truck and got out to open the gate. I got back in my truck, and then I don't remember anything. The shock was so strong that my truck did a 360-degree turn, and I was left unconscious. I saw my whole life pass by. It wasn't my time, so I was sent back and I gained consciousness. Today, I think that if I had had the speed bumps, neither my daughter nor I would have been in this accident that night, and the person who was driving above the speed limit would have slowed down because of the speed bumps. And today, I would have my truck and I wouldn't have headache or pain chest because of the blows I suffered. The night of the accident, and my daughter could today sleep peacefully and would not get up crying at night. That is why today, July 26, 2022, we come before you to ask you to please listen to our voices and install the speed bumps so that cars may pass slower and avoid so many accidents due to speeding. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last presenter is Mr. Roland Pesina. Mr. Pesina? Mr. Pesina, there's a 3-minute time limit. I will advise when there is 1 minute.
Yes, thank you. Judge, thank you. Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity. We have never really come together and gave a report. I am part of the long-term recovery team that goes out after storms to help out families. Commissioner Cantu knows what we've been doing for years. Commissioner Fuentes has been out this year, but in the past years, up until this year of May, we've helped out over 18 families to rebuild houses. We've helped out over 50 families to help get them back in their homes and be safe, sanitary, and secure. And we just wanted to come over and thank you guys for the opportunity to come over here and help our constituents and help our families in the county so that way we could get them back up to par, get them out of that poverty mentality, so that way when they see their come home to their house, they have joy. When they come over, they look at their house and say, this is my house. A lot of the families have helped out and given us, that we don't require sweat equity, but they have come over, painted, done flooring, done drywall. They want to learn. And we just wanted to come over. In the last couple of years, we've had several church groups, Catholics, Presbyterian, Methodist. We've also had the Mennonites Disaster Recovery, which are staying in Westville right now. And we've had Church World Service come down and help us out. the Reformed Church, Catholic groups that come down, Presbyterian groups. In this past year, we have worked over, let me look at that number again. We have had over 6,000 volunteer hours. We've had groups from all over the U.S. and Canada come down and help. We just wanted to come and report this and say thank you. We are here. We are trying to secure more funds to help out more families this year. The Amish folks said they're going to come down and they want to work again with us. So thank you. And we only work, we're all volunteers. Everyone that comes down volunteers our time. And the Mennonites are amazing. The Reformed Church is amazing. Every group that comes down here, they just want to come down because they love the Lord. They love God and they love what we do down here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have no more speakers, Judge.
That it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank everyone for coming over and giving us that information. Next, we have a proclamation declaring August the National Immunization Awareness Month.
Judge, we do have a public participation form for agenda item 6A.
And I see that y'all are pushing to get our babies that are firstborn and all the way to people my age and older to get that vaccine. I believe that Biden was fully vaxxed with the 2 plus 3 or 4 extras on the side, and he still got the COVID. Yesterday, Fauci and a couple of other doctors came out and said that the people who have had COVID are more protected than the ones that are getting these vax that y'all are pushing. So one day, I'm afraid that the county will be sued, and rightfully so, because you are pushing this, you think it's so wonderful, and a lot of people are dying when they take this vaccine. You need to do a little more studying instead of looking at the money that's coming in. Thank you. And my question is, think about it.
We need to hurry. We got a long agenda, please.
Sir. Proclamation declaring August 2022 National Immunization Awareness Month. Whereas the Hidalgo County Health Department was established in 1933 due to the need to intervene and contain various communicable disease outbreaks. With the development of a national immunization program, the incidence of the disease lessened due to implementation of this life-saving program. And whereas this annual observance highlights the importance of getting recommended vaccines. We acknowledge the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted all aspects of lives, including the ability to attend important medical appointments and receive routine vaccinations. Whereas the administration of vaccines has prevented countless illnesses and saved millions of lives from disease including, but not limited to, mumps, measles, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, and pertussis. And whereas vaccines have been proven safe and effective and are licensed and carefully monitored for safety. And whereas Hidalgo County has administered several thousands of vaccines in any given year due to our successful partnership with over 200 physician providers, hundreds of school nurses, and public health staff, though our essential public health system within Hidalgo County. And whereas despite a drastic decline in vaccine preventable diseases, these illnesses still exist, and it is imperative that all people, regardless of age, should ensure they are up to date on recommended vaccines. And whereas our nation's current battle against COVID-19 underscores the importance of continued advocacy for immunizations for all age groups. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court does hereby declare August 2022 as National Immunization Awareness Month. Approved this 26th day of July 2022.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you, ladies.
On behalf of Mr. Olivares and his staff, we'd like to thank you for bringing awareness to the importance of getting vaccinated. Our staff is currently at Operation Border Health. They've been doing weekend clinics back to school for all the children, so thank you again for this awareness.
You want to announce what we're doing for the kids, what used to be called Operation Lone Star?
Yes, Connie, I'll let Connie, she's.
We're still calling it Operation Lone Star, but it's Operation Border Health Preparedness. It's the whole week, Monday through Friday. We've had people stand in line from 2 in the afternoon from the day before to now. There's physicians, there is dentists, vision, glasses. They're providing, of course, we're providing vaccine. So it's a free service. This is our 23rd year that we have been doing this in our community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know it's a lot of work.
Picture. The next one, have the District Attorney's Office has a proclamation to present.
Judge, Commissioners, we do have a public participation form on agenda item 7A.
Again, this one, you're talking about trafficking. Every day on our phone hits that someone has been kidnapped, a little girl, a little boy, from all over the state of Texas and all over. And just recently, I believe they said yesterday on the news, since 2021 to now, almost 1 million getaways. And our thing is, we don't know who they are. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know if they're gang members or if they're children that's being taken. What are you doing to secure the border? I know once in a while we see you on television, County Judge, our DA. You're doing this today for trafficking, and it's the children. How many young children that have come across the border that have been raped more than once? Birth control pills. What are y'all doing to stop this? It's wonderful that everybody's here today for a proclamation, but what are you actually doing to save these children and these women? Thank you.
Please.
And Judge Commissioners, for the record, Misty Palacios with the Public Affairs Division. I'll be assisting the District Attorney in reading this proclamation. Proclamation declaring July 30th, 2022 as World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Whereas World Day Against Trafficking in Persons provides an opportunity for Hidalgo County to renew our commitment in combating human trafficking in all its forms. And whereas this year's theme focuses on the role of technology as a tool that can both enable and impede human trafficking. Technology allows these criminals to operate internationally across jurisdictions and evade detection with greater ease. And whereas the internet and digital platforms offer traffickers numerous tools to recruit, exploit, and control victims, organize their transport and accommodation, advertise victims, and communicate among perpetrators. And whereas traffickers use social media to identify, groom, and recruit victims, including children, messaging services are used for these victims, and online platforms allow traffickers to widely advertise services provided by victims, including child sexual abuse material. And whereas the Hidalgo County Criminal District Attorney's Office is working with national, state, regional, and local stakeholders to fight against human trafficking and provide assistance to victims of human trafficking. And whereas we must join together as a community in Hidalgo County to provide a safe haven by protecting victims and prosecuting traffickers. With improved victim identification, medical and social services, training for first responders, and increased public awareness, the men, women, and children who have suffered this scourge can overcome the bonds of modern slavery, receive protection and justice, and successfully reclaim their rightful independence. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby declares July 30th, 2022 as World Day Against Trafficking in Persons in Hidalgo County and recognizes the Rio Grande Valley Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, which calls on the people in our community to report human trafficking and join their prevention efforts. Approved this 26th day of July 2022.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Again, we thank you.
Great job.
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners. We thank you again once more for your continued support in this labor that we have done for the past 7 years. All the group of people that are here belong to the Rio Grande Valley Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, which is coordinated by law enforcement, prosecutors, victim service providers, and community-based organizations that are out there providing services, investigating human trafficking, and also our office prosecuting the people that commit this heinous crime. One of the main goals of the task force is prevention education, because without it, then we cannot teach our community what the science of human trafficking is. We should not confuse human trafficking with human smuggling. A victim of trafficking can be trafficked in their own home without having any type of movement. So our work as a task force is to provide that education to law enforcement and to the community at large so that victims can be identified, because human trafficking victims do not self-identify. And so that is one of our main function, is being able to identify, rescue, protect, and also when we have those people that are committing this type of crime, prosecute them to the extent of the law. And we want to thank you and thank everyone that's present here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. So we have the chair for the Rio Grande Valley Human Trafficking Task Force, Mr. Juan Cano. He's going to say a few words.
Thank you. Judge, Commissioner, thank you so much. We just want to, once again, thank you all for everything that you do for us, for all your support, and we are doing fantastic things out there. We do not publish it out to the public because of a lot of times there's ongoing investigations, but every single person that you see here, every single agency that you see here is working hard every single day to help protect and recover victims of human trafficking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another component of the identification of victims is our forensic program. DHR has a great forensic program that works every day to screen and identify potential trafficking victims that are sent to the hospital. So we have Rosa Hernandez, and she's our medical liaison for the task force. She's going to say a few words.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. On behalf of the Rio Grande Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, it is a privilege to be here today, and I want to thank you guys for your support. It is because of your support that we can continue to combat human trafficking and help those survivors on the road to recovery. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosa. And Judge, Commissioners, again, thank you for your support as always. Thank you for your time. I know that we probably took up the most time here when we come up with a proclamation, and I apologize for that. But again, you just heard just a little bit of what all these individuals do. Just a little bit. I know there was a question asked, and what are we doing, what are they doing? I mean, every day, they're working day in, day out. They try to protect their communities as much as possible. And I applaud them and I commend them because we've come together in a collaborative effort to find ways not only to protect their communities, their municipalities, but also the County of Hidalgo. And without their help and without their assistance and without their support and their collaboration, we wouldn't come together like this. And you know, we're still missing a whole lot of people that could be with us today, but again, I want to thank them for all the good work that they do, for working together so much and accomplishing one goal and in protecting our communities. And I want to point out Chief Ruben Morin from San Juan that's here, Chief Joel Rivera from Weslaco, Chief Romeo Rodriguez from Hidalgo, Chief Gilbert Guerrero from Donna, and Assistant Chief Mark Perez from Alton. Again, this is just one of the events, you know, one of the gatherings that we have of so many where we try to collaborate and work together, showing unity, to everybody out there that, yes, we concentrate on prosecution, but the awareness and the education part is very important, and everybody does a good job of doing that. So again, to everyone that's here from all the different agencies and departments, thank you for being here. And Judge and Commissioners, again, thank you for your support. God bless you. God bless the County of Hidalgo.
Thank you all for the service.
It's good, yeah. All right, one, two, and three. Thank you.
The next one, we have a proclamation by the Adult Probation Office. Who's here for the Adult Probation Office?
Faustino Lopez with the Adult Probation Department, Judge. Good afternoon,
Okay.
Judge, Commissioners.
Okay, we've got to get somebody on the airplane here pretty quick. Okay. Okay. Adult probation, you've
Good
got the
afternoon,
floor.
Judge, Commissioners. Faustino Lopez with Adult Probation. I'm here on item 13A. Approval of proclamation declaring July 17th through the 23rd as pretrial probation and parole supervision week.
Sure, would you like to read it?
Sure, Judge. Whereas the week of July 11th through the 23rd is recognized as pretrial probation and parole supervision week, recognizing this year's theme as restoring trust, creating hope. And whereas probation and parole officers are an essential part of the criminal justice system that uphold the law with dignity while recognizing the right of the public to be safeguarded from criminal activity. And whereas probation and parole officers are responsible for supervising adult and juvenile offenders in the community. These officers are trained professionals who provide services and referrals for offenders, and whereas while working in partnership with community agencies and groups, probation and parole officers also promote prevention, intervention, and advocacy. And whereas these officers provide services, support, and protection to victims of crime, and whereas probation and parole officers advocate community and restore justice, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby declares July 17th through the 23rd as Probation and Parole Supervision Week and asks the community to help advocate and promote restorative justice. Approve this 26th day of July, 2022.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
The next item will be 19A. We have a recognition for United Way of South Texas. Commissioner Cantu.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Judge Cortez and Commissioners. Thank you for your time, and we do apologize, we won't take much of your time. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Blanca Villalobos. I'm the United Way Board Chair, and we're here in honor to obviously recognize Hidalgo County for being one of our top 10 companies. We know out of
how many companies? Well, number 3 out of the 10 top companies. Sorry about that.
Hundreds of companies.
Yes. Together with the departments, the sheriffs, commissioners' courts, Head Starts as well, they have raised $73,000 that's helped pretty much 73 different human and health services programs around in our community. So we really thank you for your support and what y'all are doing, because obviously contributes a lot as a partnership that we have with you all as being one of the top 10 companies. I'll have a little special recognition, in this case for Precinct 2, Mr. Commissioner Cantu, obviously being one of the departments with the highest, obviously, participation, so thank you again. And I give everybody, that obviously, thank you for your leadership as well with Olivia in support, and obviously give everybody the challenge, hopefully we can make it happen this year again. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm Lily Lopez Killalay. I'm president of United Way of South Texas, serving Hidalgo and Starr counties. And thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I'm sorry that Commissioner Fuentes couldn't be with us today as well, but it is really...
He's listening, he's listening.
He's listening,
Yeah.
Wonderful. Hello, Commissioner. We are just extremely grateful to all of the employees of the county and the leadership for inviting us into your homes, because at your workplace, this is your home away from home. This is where we spend, half of our days. And everyone is always so welcoming, and in particular, all of the precincts have been tremendous. We kept hearing back last year, in particular from Commissioner Torres' office, who wanted to meet Commissioner Cantu's challenge, and I kept hearing from Dr. Culbertson about, how they were doing. We had top performers like Buildings and Grounds, the Drainage District, also the Head Start program, the Community Service Agency, are just some of the other departments that did extremely well during a very challenging period. We want to remind you that 99% of what we raise stays in this county to serve over 20 different nonprofit organizations, and we fund hundreds of health and human services that provide services to individuals from birth to end of life. Everything from parenting classes, preparing moms to be good mothers, teaching them about being healthy before they even go to the visit a hospital, to after-school programs through Boys and Girls Clubs, domestic violence assistance, housing for the homeless, and all the way to end-of-life care facilities through Aurora House and Comfort House. We cannot do this without the support of the county, one of the top employers, obviously, in the area, and with your leadership. So we are extremely grateful, and today we'd like to take a picture with all of you for our top 10 pictures, and hopefully we'll have a press release very shortly in the paper. So we're going to ask you to come on up again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, the chicks. Yeah. Oh, but I brought it. Hopefully the camera's not that great.
We're going to see you next year, or August the 2nd. See you at the shopping.
You set the bar high, Commissioner.
Okay. You have 21A also?
Okay, 21A, Commissioner Torres, we have a resolution to honor a very important person.
Yes, sir. Dr. Culbertson will be reading that.
Good afternoon, members of the court. Dr. Jennifer Mendoza Culbertson, representing Precinct 4. Presenting agenda item 21A, 86684. Resolution honoring United States Navy Petty Officer 3rd Class Jose Antonio Sainz. Whereas Jose Antonio Sainz from Edinburgh, Texas, enlisted in the United States Navy during World War II with the rank of Petty Officer 3rd Class and was assigned to the USS Indianapolis with his specialty being Ship's Cook 3rd Class. And whereas in July 1945, the USS Indianapolis was on its way back from a secret mission, delivering parts for the atomic bomb to the United States Air Force Base in the island of Tinian. This top-secret, high-speed mission played a significant role in ending the Second World War. And whereas on July 30th, 1945, the USS Indianapolis was torpedoed by the Imperial Japanese Navy submarine I-58 in the shark-infested waters, and the ship sank within 12 minutes. Of the 1,195 crewmen aboard, approximately 300 went down with the ship. And whereas the remaining 890 crewmen faced exposure, dehydration, saltwater poisoning, and shark attacks while stranded in the open ocean with limited lifeboats and little to no food or water. It is estimated that 50 crewmen perished a day as a result of shark attacks. On the 4th day after its sinking, the Navy became aware of the status of the USS Indianapolis after the crew of a PV-1 Ventura was on routine patrol and spotted survivors. Out of all the crew members aboard the USS Indianapolis, only 316 survived. And whereas for over 7 decades, Petty Officer Sainz, along with other crewmen, was classified as missing in action or unaccounted for. In 2017, a search team located the wreckage of the sunken cruiser in the Philippine Sea at a depth of 18,000 feet. As a result of extensive research between many offices and organizations, 13 crewmen, including Petty Officer Sainz, had their status changed to buried at sea, bringing closure to the family members of the departed. And whereas, due to his brave actions and sacrifice during wartime, Petty Officer Sainz was awarded the Purple Heart Medal, and on December the 20th, 2018, the crew of the USS Indianapolis were collectively awarded a Congressional Gold Medal. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and honor one of the City of Edinburgh's sons, Petty Officer 3rd Class Jose Antonio Sainz, for his acts of bravery, courage, and sacrifice during the mission, which played a crucial role in bringing World War II to an end. May Petty Officer Sainz rest in peace now that a proper classification to his sacrifice has been provided by the United States Navy. May his family receive the needed closure for their loved one and carry with them the memories and pride of Petty Officer Sainz, who paid the ultimate sacrifice for his country. Seeking the court's approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and we obviously thank you and the family.
With us this afternoon, we have representing the Sainz family, Mr. Joel Sainz, who will say a few words, followed by members of the City of Edinburgh Council, Mr. Dan Diaz, and Mr. Johnny Garcia, who will also be saying a few words.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would like to say a few words on behalf of the surviving nieces and nephews, family members of our uncle. Yeah, it does bring closure, but at the same time, it's an honor to be here and say a few words for my uncle, because El Laguna Seca Cemetery was supposedly where he was born, is what we understand. And we understand also that in July the 30th of 1945, at the time of the attack, he was gone from this earth. And his brothers and sisters are buried at Laguna Seca Cemetery. and closure for me and hopefully some of my cousins here. Would like to have a plaque so that we can place that plaque, if not in body or anything else, but as a memorial of his name, and to place it at the feet of my mother, and my father, my grandfather, my aunts, my uncles, and for him to have his name there at Laguna Seca Cemetery, along with his brothers and sisters, and his mother and father. And I really like to thank my cousins for being there. We never have forgotten. We never will. And, Pino, you have something to say?
Well, I want to thank everybody for recognizing after so many years, my grandmother and my grandfather couldn't be here, and are my parents, his brothers and sisters. But I'm more than thinking that they are very happy to hear that they finally declared them, gone, because he was just lost at sea. And now 77 years later, it was well recognized that he was deceased. And I really want to thank everybody. But it's like my cousin said, we would like for him to be recognized because he did serve the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We want to thank you for his service to our country, and unfortunately, we lost him.
Good afternoon, Judge, also Commissioners, Commissioner Torres, Commissioner Villarreal, Commissioner Cantu, and also Commissioner Fuentes. My name is Johnny Garcia. For the record, I'm the Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Edinburgh, and I also have Dan Diaz here with me. And on behalf of Mayor Ramiro Garza and, of course, the rest of the council, Jason De Leon and also David White, we want to, first of all, give our deepest condolences to the family, Science, and all the extended family members for the loss of their loved one. On May 2022, it was declared that he was finally buried at sea, but that still doesn't bring closure to the family. When you don't have the physical person, it's very hard to have closure. And we just want to remind the public and invite the public that this Saturday, July the 30th, at 10 a.m., we will have a ceremony of remembrance for Petty Officer 3rd Class Jose Antonio Science there at the Edinburgh City Hall. We invite everybody to please attend. It's more for the living that this service will take place. Of course, Petty Officer is resting in God's hands, but it is us as a community that we come together. To us, it's personal because he's also native of Edinburgh, but also some of my cousins are also related to the family, so it's a personal for us too, and we just continue to pray for the family, for the Lord to give him strength. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Court. I want to thank Commissioner Torres for putting this on the agenda. I want to address the family. Thank you for never forgetting your fellow family member. As a veteran, it means a lot to know that the pride is still in your hearts. I am so happy that the Department of Navy continued searching. It's one thing that we get told as soldiers, we never leave anyone behind. And even if it took 77 years, he's now resting closure with the family. And know that the City of Edinburgh, we have very, very proud veterans, very, very many people that like to serve their country. And like Mayor Pro Tem said, we're going to have a ceremony on Saturday. And I'm sure that we'll do what's needed to make sure that he's recognized in a resting place in his hometown. Please invite everyone, and thank you, Court, for bringing this. This is very special. I've been in emergency medicine a long time. Takes a lot to rattle me. My heart's going fast right now. Hearing the story, seeing the families, it's a very emotional moment. And I just want to thank everybody that's here, and I thank you for your bravery and the honor that you're doing your family member. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Well, take a picture with the family. Okay, we're going to have to go to closed session. We have somebody that needs to get on the plane. So pursuant, we're going to move to item 26. Pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code under Section 551.071, 72, 74, and 87, we'll be retiring to closed session to discuss those items. Any action items to be taken will be taken in open session when we return. I have a motion to do so.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. It is 3:22.
It's on.
We're on? Okay. Okay, it's 4:36. We're back from closed session. Where's our, there we are. Rhonda, do we have action items on closed session?
Yes, sir, Judge, if we can just
Go
pick
ahead
up
and
where
take
we
them.
left off, Judge. So, we can go to, I believe 7B.
You want to wait for the action items on closed session?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right.
So we can, yes, because we can get to
Then
this
we
agenda.
are at 7B, District Attorney's Office. Sorry to keep you all waiting.
No problem. Good afternoon, Commissioners, Judge Cortez. Rosalinda Cantu presenting for the District Attorney's Office. Item 7B, the DA's Title 4E Fund 1100. We're asking for approval of the Title 4E grant budget for October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023. We're also asking for approval for County Judge to sign the following documents: the budget and the Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act form.
So move. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 7C, the DA's Chapter 59 Fund 1223. We're asking for approval of the 2022 appropriation of funds from the DA Chapter 59 Fund 1223 in the amount of $58,337.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sheriff's Office, item 8A.
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners. Captain David Freeland presenting for Sheriff J.E. Eddie Guerra. Agenda item 8A in 3 parts. It's the DOJ U.S. Marshals Service. Part 1, requesting approval to accept additional overtime funding from the U.S. Department of Justice, U.S. Marshals Service for 1 officer in the amount of $4,372 per officer for fiscal year 2022 through October 12th, 2021 through September 30th, 2022 for a grand total of $19,372. Part 2, requesting authorization to continue pay overtime reimbursable under the grant terms and conditions. Part 3, requesting approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for fiscal year 2022. Overtime funds in the amount of $4,372 and appropriation is same.
Motion to approve as read.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
8B, the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in 7 parts. Part 1, requesting authorization and approval to apply for fiscal year 2022 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant program with the U.S. Department of Justice. Part 2, discussion, consideration, review, and approval of program application narrative for the grant. Part 3, authorization for county judge to sign the required documentation. Part 4, authorization for the county executive officer to sign required forms required for the fiscal year 2021 JAG program applications. Part 5, authorization for county judge to sign OMB number 4040-004 as authorized representative. Part 6, authorization for county sheriff to sign OMB number 4040-0013 as Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office Department head. And Part 7, authorization for county judge to certify the required documentation and application under grants management system as authorized official.
Motion to approve 8B 1 through 7.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
8C, Operation Stone Garden Grant, requesting authorization and approval to submit a budget amendment, or FRAGO, in reference to the fiscal year 2021 Operation Stone Garden Grant to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Department of Homeland Security for Sheriff's Office and Constable Precinct 4.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
8D, Jail Commissary, requesting approval of certification of revenues by the county auditor in the amount of $158,990.76.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And 8E, Jail Commissary, requesting approval of certification of revenues by the county auditor in the amount of $564,599.43.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you
for your
very
time.
much. Item 9A, Constable Precinct 1.
Yes, good afternoon, Judge. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Deputy Jason Olivera here for Constable Precinct 1. 2 parts, gentlemen. Approval to enter into a license plate reader LPR user agreement between Hidalgo County Constable Precinct 1 and Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Record Services for the purpose of accessing and utilizing the Texas LPR database as required by the granting agency with authority for Constable Celestino Avila as authorized user agency official to sign agreement and all required documents. 2, approval of the Constable Precinct 1 automated license plate recognition ALPR departmental policy for the purpose of establishing guidelines and procedures in relations to the use of the LPR technology as required by the granting agency.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Erica, Human Resources, 10A.
Good afternoon, Judge Commissioners. Erika Reina for the Department of Human Resources. Item 10A, I'm requesting a waiver of the following if applicable for the personnel items listed. I need action on item number 3, the budget amendment policy, personnel-related amendments.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 10B, discussion, consideration, and approval of a worksite agreement for wage services between Hidalgo County and Texas Workforce Commission Vocational Rehabilitation Services. This is for a partnership between the County Judge's Office and Workforce Solutions. Workforce Solutions will be provided a temporary part-time position to bring services to the community. I do recommend approval. There is no general fund fiscal impact.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 10C for the Public Defender from the TIDC grant. Approval of the following personnel actions effective next full pay period, August 1st, 2022. This is to create slot 0001 of Public Defender 3 at grade 17 with an auto allowance of $1,500 and slot 0002 a social worker at a grade 12 with an auto allowance of $1,500. Judge Commissioners, this is because the state has awarded funding for a new subunit within the Public Defender's Office to address mental health related cases. And so this item is needed to fulfill the grant commitment. I do recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Ms.
Item-
Reina, if I may, Judge Commissioners, I did receive a public participation form on item 10D from Ms. Fern McClarity, but I did address her question. Go ahead, Ms. Reina.
Thank you, Mr. Guerra. Item 10D, we continue the centralizing of technology positions within the county's IT department. And for the next item, what we are doing is transferring slots, technology slots from the health department to IT. Item 10D1, approval of the following personnel actions effective the next full pay period, August 1st, 2022. This is to create slot 0059, a systems project manager at grade 14, and slot 0060, a system support specialist 2 at a grade 11. Item 10D2 is approval to waive the posting, hiring, and enrollment procedures and transfer employee number 87815 to the systems project manager, slot number 200-001-0059. Item 10D3 for the health department, approval of the following personnel actions effective the next full pay period, August 1st, 2022. Requesting to delete slot 0144, the system project manager at grade 14, and slot 0028, a system support specialist 2 at a grade 11. And item 10D4 is approval of the interdepartmental transfer. There is no general fund fiscal impact. We are simply transferring the positions from health to IT. I do recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Those for items D, 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
Item 10E for the WIC office, approval of the following personnel actions effective the next full pay period, August 1st, 2022. I'm requesting to delete slot 0223, a clinic aide-1 grade 1, and create slot 0275, a clerk 1, same grade, grade 1. This, of course, is coming from WIC's grant funding, and there is no fiscal impact to general fund. I do recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
11A, Urban County, Mr. Avila.
Good afternoon, Judge Commissioners. For 11A, 1 and 2, discussion and approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 as it relates to the Texas General Land Office MIT 2015 grant, contract number 22-083-004-D209, and 11A2, authorization for County Judge Richard F. Cortez to sign interlocal cooperation agreement between Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For 11B, 1 and 2, discussion and approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement between Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 as it relates to the Texas General Land Office MIT 2016 grant, GLO contract number 22-082-005-D200. And B2, authorization for County Judge Richard F. Cortez to sign interlocal cooperation agreement between Hidalgo County and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For 11C, 1, Urban County Program is requesting consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the submission of a 2022 Colonia Fund Planning and Needs Assessment application to the Texas Department of Agriculture under the Texas Community Development Block Grant Program in the amount up to $500,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For 11C2, authorization for Hidalgo County Judge to act as the county's chief executive officer and authorized representative in all matters pertaining to the county's participation in the 2022 Colonia Fund Planning and Needs Assessment application.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
For 11C3, approval of the Hidalgo County Judge to accept the award from the Texas Department of Agriculture for the 2022 Colonia Fund Planning and Needs Assessment Grant. And C4, approval of the resolution for designation of certain authorized bonded signatories for the application, subsequent contractual documents, environmental review documents, and request for payments, forms, documentation, and/or other forms required for requesting funds to reimburse project costs to the Texas Department of Agriculture 2022 Colonia Fund Planning and Needs Assessment Grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And for 11D, consideration and approval of the 3-year cooperation agreement for reinstatement for the City of Progreso Lakes for fiscal years 2021-2023, necessary for the requalification of Hidalgo County as an urban county for the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD program.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Avila.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Health and Human Services Department, item 12A.
Good afternoon, Irene Sarmiento Rangel for the Health and Human Services Department. Item 12A, requesting approval to submit a renewal grant application for the Title V prenatal FY23 program. The potential new award allocation is $30,670 for a term of 9/1/22 to August 31st of 2023.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 12B is no action. We'll bring that back at a later date. Item 12C, requesting approval of the memorandum of agreement with the National Foundation for the Center for Disease Control and Prevention.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 12D1, requesting approval to rescind action on agenda item 86310 taken on June 28, 22 due to discrepancy in the title of the agreement.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 12D2, requesting approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement between the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston and the County of Hidalgo. The purpose of the agreement is for both entities to collaborate and exchange data to track and analyze the COVID-19 data for the incidence of disease and/or infection and the transmission of the disease in Hidalgo County and its impact on fatalities.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 12E, requesting approval to submit grant renewal application for the TB Federal Calendar Year 23 program that will include $427,120 in grant funds and $85,426 in local match funds.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 12F, requesting approval to accept and for county judge to sign the amendment 1 to the medical group agreement for Blue Advantage HMO network participation. The purpose is to amend the agreement as set forth in attachment 1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 12G1A, discussion, consideration, approval to draw down funds for additional comprehensive hospital increase reimbursement program, payment year 1, advanced IGT in the amount to be determined by Health and Human Service Commission instructions from the local provider participation fund with a transfer date of August 9, 2022.
Go ahead and take B and C.
Item B is approval certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor from the local provider participation fund in the amount to be determined by HHSC instructions. And item C is approval of the appropriation of funds from the LPPF fund in the amount to be determined by HHSC instructions.
Motion to approve G1, A, B, and C.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've already taken 13A. There will be no action taken on 14A, so we'll go to community service, 15A. Mr. Longoria.
Good afternoon, Judge. Jaime Longoria with the Hidalgo County Community Service Agency. Item 15A is discussion, consideration, and possible action to approve amendment number 4 to the Comprehensive Energy Assistance Program, CAP contract number 582-10003387, to include extension date until September 30th of 2022. This is a 2021 grant, Judge, Commissioners. We just needed an extension to complete the necessary reporting. This grant has been fully expended.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 15B is discussion, consideration, and possible action to return emergency rental assistance program remaining unobligated funds as of July 1st, 2022, in the amount of $962,220.85 to the U.S. Department of Treasury.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you,
Mr.
Judge.
Longoria.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Alexis Administration, Yvonne Ramon.
Hi.
Or Hilda.
Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners. Hilda Salinas here on behalf of Ms. Yvonne Ramon. Discussion, item number 1, which is discussion on election updates. The City of Palmhurst special election is underway. The race that we have on the ballot is for a mayoral race. Early voting began on Monday, July 25th, and will run through Friday, August 5th. Election day is Wednesday, August 10th. Palmhurst voters can cast their ballot at Rafael A. Cantu Jr. High School throughout early voting and election day. The polling location will be open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. until Wednesday, August 3rd. The last 2 days of early voting, which is August 4th and August 5th, their polling location will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., as well as on election day. Please note that their polling location will be closed on Sunday, July 31st. We ask voters to visit our website at www.hidalgocounty.us/elections or to call our office at 956-318-2570 for election information. Do you all have any questions on that information? No? Okay. So I'll go ahead and I'll proceed. Item number 2, which is approval of the August 10th, 2022 special election services contract between Hidalgo County and the City of Palmhurst. We recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. Planning Department, Mr. Redondo.
Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners. Jorge Garcia, presenting for the Planning Department. Item 17A, discussion, consideration, and/or possible approval of order abandoning a portion of a 40-foot wide county road situated in Porcion 71, Narciso Cavazo Survey, abstract number 30, Hidalgo County, Texas, as shown on plat of re-subdivision of lots 1 and 5 to 32, inclusive of the Juan Plantation subdivision. In addition to Hidalgo County, Texas, recorded in volume 3, page 52 of map records in Hidalgo County, Texas. This is a county road that has never been opened. We have evaluated this and we do not have any objections.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
West
Go ahead.
Cadena Estates, I'm sorry?
Continue with.
Cadena Estate subdivision precinct 3, it's a 2-lot family subdivision. Drainage will be provided by natural percolation and surface runoff will drain into brushline roadside ditch. Subdivision licensed city of Mission, ETJ. Water will be provided by our SUD, sewer by on-site sewage facilities. And the variance is to reduce the lot width from 70 feet to 60 feet.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
2, final approval with a financial guarantee, TNO Ranch number 3 subdivision, license precinct 1. It's a 4-lot subdivision. Drainage will be provided by natural percolation and surface runoff will drain into mile 1 east roadside ditch. Lies within the city of Mercedes, ETJ. Water will be provided by Missouri Highway Water Supply Corporation. Sewer by on-site sewage facilities. And the final approval with a cash deposit in the amount of $6,000 for 4 on-site sewage facility systems.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
States number 4, phase 2 subdivision, in precinct 1 division. Drainage will be provided by storm sewer system and detention will be provided by the widening of the existing drain ditch. Subdivision lies in the rural area of the county. Water will be provided by North Alamo Water Supply and sewer by on-site sewage facilities.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, 18A, Commissioner Fuentes.
Judge, Commissioners, with your permission, let me present for Commissioner Fuentes. He is asking for, requesting approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between the South Texas Independent School District and the County of Hidalgo for student transportation staging area for the 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Second request is requesting authorization and approval to name an unopened county road at Wu Roof Subdivision to Victoria Road as recommended by the LRGV DC 911 Department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Commissioner Villarreal. Oh, excuse me,
I
Commissioner
have one
Cantu.
item. Requesting approval to accept counter offer to purchase a tract of land known as parcel 12 associated with the Precinct 2 Eldora Road project from FM 3362 to Veterans Boulevard with authority of the county judge to sign the administrative evaluation and approval form.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 28, Commissioner Villarreal.
Requesting approval to rescind agenda item 85-366, item 1, previously approved on April 19, 2022. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A2, requesting acceptance and approval of permit with Hidalgo County Irrigation District. Number 6, an authorization for the county judge to execute the permit related to parcel 8 of the Liberty Road Phase 1 project. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Commissioner Torres.
Yes. Item 21B, 1, acceptance and approval of an interlocal cooperation agreement between the County of Hidalgo and the City of Edinburgh for road maintenance and improvements to the Trenton Road project from I-69C to FM 907, Alamo Road. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 2, in accordance with Section 791.014 of the Texas Government Code, requesting approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement for road maintenance and improvements to the Trenton Road project from I-69C to FM 907. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Budget and Management.
Yes, Judge. Item A, fiscal year 2022 Texas V Vine Grant Program. Approval of first amendment to grant contract between Hidalgo County and the Office of the Attorney General of Texas for the statewide automated victim notification service in relation to the FY 2022 Texas Vine Grant Program with authority for county judge as authorized official to execute agreements electronically.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, discussion, consideration, and approval to update the Texas Department of Emergency Management designation of subrecipient agent form for fiscal year 2022 and for the county judge to sign all appropriate documents.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item C, county judge fiscal year 2022 Humanity Texas Grant. Number one, approval to ratify acceptance of in-kind match contribution from the International Museum of Art and Science in relation to the fiscal year 2022 Humanities Texas Grant Unsinkable Voices from the Storm exhibit.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number two under C, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for the in-kind match contribution provided by IMAS and appropriation of same.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item T, Title 4E Child Welfare Services. Item number one, approval of Title 4E Child Welfare Services Grant Budget Contract Number 24738252 for October 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Items 2A and B, approval for county judge to sign the following documents. A, budget. B, Federal Funding Accountability and Transparency Act form.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item E, TxDOT Precinct 1, Mile 6 West, authorization to submit electronic disadvantaged county program application and affidavit for the Mile 6 from mile 14 and a half to mile 11 North project, CSJ 0921-02-447, with authority for the county judge to sign all required documentation.
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Second.
carries.
American Rescue Plan Act, item number one, ARPA, discussion, consideration, and action to approve the use of ARPA relief funds for the Inclusive Accessibility Toolbar, which will provide Hidalgo County web users with more accessible communications, especially for persons with disabilities.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number two under ARPA, discussion and consideration and action to approve the use of ARPA relief funds for the following project under Hidalgo County American Rescue Plan Act Stormwater Systems Improvement Program, Hidalgo County Precinct 2, Las Mispas Road Stormwater Management Project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number three, discussion, consideration, and action to approve the use of ARPA relief funds for the Hidalgo County Precinct 2 Small Repairs and Rehabilitation Housing Project. The project will provide funds for minor repairs or rehabilitation of homes for income-eligible applicants.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On item number four, I'm requesting no action for further review. Item number five, discussion, consideration, and action to approve the use of ARPA relief funds for the paramedic initiative with the City of Mercedes. The project will mitigate public health measures related to the ongoing COVID-19 public health emergency.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number six is American Rescue Plan Act funds as well. Discussion, consideration, and action to approve Hidalgo County Precinct 2 Lopezville Park improvements, bear with me, under the Hidalgo County American Rescue Plan Act Recreational Development Program.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Number seven, discussion, consideration, and approval of the Hidalgo County American Rescue Plan Act Program, SLFRF Recovery Plan Use of Funds.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 8, discussion and approval for fiscal impact increase for emergency management facility.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Roman, if I may, please, Judge Commissioners, for the record, we did receive a public participation form on 22G1, A, B, and C from Ms. Firma Clarity, but I did address her question. Go ahead, Mr. Roman.
Okay. G, general fund and special revenue funds, capital leases, various departments, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor to fund capital lease expenses. B, ratification of 2021 appropriation of revenues and expenses to fund capital leases. And C, ratification of 2021 transfer of fund capital leases expenses. Number 2, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Sorry about that. CARES Act Fund, approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for interest earned for the year 2021 in the amount of $8,311.75 in relation to the CARES Act Fund and appropriations of same.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Precinct number 2, road maintenance, approval of 2022 appropriation of funds for precinct 2, road and bridge from the road and bridge unassigned fund balance in the amount of $400,000 to fund operating expenses.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 4, precinct 4, road maintenance, approval of 2022 appropriation of funds from road maintenance fund balance in the amount of $650,725.19 to anticipated expenditures.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 5 is requesting approval of the certification of revenues by county auditor in the amount of $52,701.43 from the precinct 4 drainage improvement project labor reimbursement and appropriation of the same.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Roman. You competed very well with the next one as to the number of items in the agenda.
Okay.
Item 23A.
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioner Eduardo Belmares of Purchasing Department. Item 23A1, requesting acceptance of solicitation packet RFP number 2203050824 JLC, professional consulting services and project management support for compliance and reporting of coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds, SLFRF, and other federal grants, and authority to advertise solicitation packet, including re-advertising if necessary, subject to ARPA approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23B1A, presentation and acceptance of the evaluation committee's recommendations of the responses received, including the committee's consideration of the best and final offer from the highest ranked responsible respondents in connection to RFP number 220045-0505 ABV, third-party administration for self-funded medical plan, pharmacy, benefit service, group term life, and accidental death dismemberment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
B, requesting approval to award the following recommended carriers with authority for the county judge to sign any required documentation subject to legal approval. Medical TPA, Aetna, Pharmacy Benefits Management, Aetna, Basic Life, AD&D, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Dearborn.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23C1A, requesting approval to rescind action taken by Commissioners Court via AI 85795 Part B dated May 17, 2022 due to required revisions to AIA B101 2017 agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
B, requesting approval final negotiated AIA B101 2017 professional services agreement with Milnet Architectural Services PLLC for the emergency management facility project with authority to issue notice to proceed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And C, requesting authority for Milnet Architectural Services PLLC to engage subcontractors.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23D1A, request an exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code Section 262024A4 for professional services.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And B, presentation of scoring grid for the purpose of ranking by Commissioners Court the firms graded and evaluated through the county approved pool of professional services for on-call professional engineering services for projects located within precinct number 2. The following are the rankings: GDJ Engineering LLC 96, Cruz Hogan Consultants Inc. 95, and Javier Hinojosa Engineering 93. Does the court wish to rank in the order presented?
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And C, requesting authority for the Hidalgo County Purchasing Department to negotiate a professional engineering service agreement commencing with the number 1 ranked firm, GDJ Engineering LLC, for the provisions of on-call engineering services for projects within precinct number 2.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23D2A, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code Section 262.024A4 professional services.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
B, presentation of scoring grid for the purpose of ranking by Commissioners Court the firms graded and evaluated to the county approved pool of professional engineering services providers for Hidalgo Health Clinic renovation or reconstruction project. The following are the rankings: Sericon Consultants Inc. 97, Millennium Engineering Group 95, and Earth Company LLC 93. Does the court wish to rank in the order presented?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And C, authority for the purchasing department to negotiate a professional engineering services agreement commencing with the number 1 ranked firm, Sericon Consultants, for geotechnical construction.
Eduardo,
consulting services for
Eduardo, we
Hidalgo
can't hear you.
renovation Or reconstruction project.
I think they lowered the
One
volume
moment,
because
Mr.
of the
Eduardo.
feedback.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23D3, acceptance and approval to execute the final form of a professional surveying service agreement subject to ACDA civil section approval as to legal form with Kane Lindsay LLC, approved for negotiations, Commission Report 53122 for project located in precinct number 2, subject to compliance with Form 1295.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23D4, acceptance and approval to execute the final form of professional engineering service agreement, subject to ACDA civil section approval as to legal form for the provisions of on-call professional engineering services with D2Z Engineering LLC, approved for negotiations, Commissioners Court 628-2022 for project located in precinct number 2 and subject to compliance with Form 1295.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
23D5, acceptance and approval to execute the final form professional surveying services agreement subject to HCDA civil section approval as to legal form for the provisions of on-call surveying services with Quintanilla Hadley and Associates Inc., approved for negotiations on Commissioners Court 628-22 for projects located in precinct number 2 and subject to compliance with Form 1295.
Motion to approve?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
23E1, requesting approval change order number 4 for contract 2294-0223 with Rain Construction Inc. for Hidalgo County Precinct number 3, Mile 3 North Road Project, Tom Gill Road, and FM 492 Goodwill Road, as detailed in document and recommended by project engineer B2Z Engineering, and subject to receipt of TxDOT letter of concurrence.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
23F1A, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262.024A4 professional services.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
The presentation of scoring grid for the purpose of ranking by Hidalgo County Commissioners Court of firms graded through the county's pool of pre-qualified professional services for construction material and geotechnical testing services for Hohen's Stormwater Project located within precinct number 4. The following are the rankings: Millennium Engineering Group 286, Earth Company LLC 279, and HBJ South Central Texas M&J Inc. 273. Does the court wish to rank in the following order presented?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
C, requesting authority for Hidalgo County Purchasing Department to negotiate a construction material and geotechnical testing service agreement commencing with the number one ranked firm of Millennium Engineering Group for the provision of construction material and geotechnical testing services for Hohen Stormwater Project located within precinct number 4.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23F2, approval work authorization number 1 under on-call agreement contract number 21-946-1228 in the amount of $3,192 for a traffic warrant study at the intersection of Ramsayer and Doolittle Road in precinct number 4.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
23F3A, requesting approval change order number 3, awarded to NM Contracting LLC for the construction of Precinct 4 mechanic shop project to extend the term of the contract for an additional 44 calendar days and a decrease of $64,422.73 as recommended by project architect Euro Architects under contract number 2298-1117, subject to Form 495.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
B, requesting approval change order number 4, awarded to NM Contracting LLC for the construction of Precinct 4 mechanic shop project for the purpose of liquidated damages and a decrease of $20,715.23 as recommended by project architect Euro Architects, contract number 2298-1117, subject to Form 295.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23F4, requesting approval change order number 1 to contract number 21-0686-1019 with the levy company for the Hidalgo Precinct number 4, construction of traffic signal flashing beacon lights project as detailed in the document attached and recommended by project engineer DDJ Engineering LLC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23F5, requesting authority to advertise solicitation packet RFP 2200260824 JLC for the construction of Davis Road Citizen Collection Site within precinct number 4, including the re-advertising if applicable.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23F, discussion, consideration, and action to appoint a commissioner to sell real property owned by Hidalgo County described as Kelly Farr Tract Lot 32, corner of Veterans Boulevard and Wisconsin Road, at a public auction to be held on or before September 6, 2022, in accordance with Texas Local Government Code Section 263.001, and authorize staff to publish required notice.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23G1, requesting approval to purchase data storage shield for information technology department through Omnia Partners Cooperative Contract number 4400006644, awarded vendor Inside Public Sector SLED for a total amount of $50,521.07.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
3G2, requesting approval for the purchase of, I need to make a correction for the record, 33 instead of 3. 33 Ruckus T710 wireless access point Wi-Fi 5 through Omnia Cooperative Contract number 4400006644 to expire April 30th, 2023 in the amount of $52,124.20.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23H1, requesting authority to enter into a 60-month lease agreement between Hidalgo County and Pitney Bowes, a buy-board awarded vendor, through contract number 656.21 for a monthly amount of $1,718.38, billed quarterly at $5,155.14, and for county judge to sign any required documentation.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Item 23H2, requesting acceptance and approval of the proposal submitted by Texas Chiller Systems and the total amount not to exceed, need to make a correction for the record, $261,082.45 is the correct amount, through TIPS Cooperative Contract number 211001-3132 for the replacement of HVAC systems in the following buildings. Precinct number 1, JP's Morgue Forensic Center, Admin Building 1, and Annex 5.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23I1, requesting approval to purchase 14 Ford Explorers through Hidalgo County's membership participation with Goodbye Co-op Contract number 2222HF000, awarded vendor Silsby Ford Inc. in the amount of $496,635.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23I1, requesting to exercise the final one-year extension as provided in the current contract agreement under contract number 1907300813 for Hidalgo County, countywide under the same rates, terms, and conditions with South Texas Communications for repairs, installation, and removal of communication radio tower and miscellaneous emergency equipment.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
23I2, requesting authority to advertise a procurement packet for Hidalgo County Tax Office as RFB number 2203660824 MGN Armored Car Services and re-advertise if applicable, subject to purchasing review and approval.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
23I, requesting authority to award to the sole responsible respondent from Terra Metros Inc. for request for bids 220317 hot mix cold date.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge Commissioners, with your permission, Mr. Roman, if you could please make that correction on item, if I'm not mistaken, 22F8?
Yes, sir, thank you. I'd like to make a clarification on that matter. The funding source initially was going to be on Category 6 revenue replacement. The funding source will be, or the funding will be coming from Category 1 public health. So I just need to make that for the record.
Judge Commissioners, out of an abundance of caution, could you just a motion and a second acknowledging the category that was just stated?
May I have a motion and a second to acknowledge the change in the category?
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank
brother.
you. Judge Commissioners, item 24A, 1, 2, and 3, there's no action to be taken this week. 24B, requesting authority and approval to obtain as applicable items necessary in anticipation of real property lease acquisition, including but not limited to the following: fair market value appraisals, inspections, surveys, all-phase environmental assessments, title reports or title policy services, commercial contracts, improved property, or option contracts with authority for county auditor to issue required earnest money payment or payments or option payments, and county judge or executive officer to execute the necessary required documents. This is with reference to Willacy County property.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 24C, I'm asking the court to approve accept a check from Princeton Excess and Surplus Lines Insurance Company in the amount of $56,065.84. This is for reimbursement of amount exceeding our SIR in connection with case number C-2793-20-D, Humberto Martinez and Annabel Cruz versus Hidalgo County.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
24D, I'm asking the court as follows: discussion, consideration, action approving the sale back of lots 18, 19, 20, and 22 of Block 9, town site of San Carlos, Hidalgo County, Texas, to Lydia R. Maldonado, the original seller, as these lots should not have been included in the purchase sale transaction of May 19th, 2020.
And lot 21, you left out 21.
Yes,
18,
18, 19, 20, 21, and 22.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 25 is discussion, consideration, and possible action. A, county response to disaster health emergency. 1, CARES Act and American Rescue Plan Act funds. A, 2022 premium pay program. Judge Commissioners, there's no action to be taken. I'll just proceed as directed, and I'll have an appropriate agenda item on our next court session. Item B, measures necessary to preserve public health and safety. There's already been some action taken by the purchasing department and budget office. And C, direction regarding county government operations, including but not limited to essential functions. Judge Commissioners, we continue to follow CDC recommended guidelines and continue to work with our facilities management and addressing any issues related to the pandemic. Again, the health and safety of our residents doing business with the County of Hidalgo is first and foremost, as is the health and safety of our employees providing that valuable service. We have gone to closed session, so I will move to item 28, open session. Item 28A, real estate acquisition appropriation for same. There's no specific action to be taken. I'll just proceed as directed. 28B, pending and or potential litigation. No action to be taken. 28C, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the response to public health emergency. No specific action to be taken. 28D, discussion, consideration, and action on filing an amicus brief in cause number 21-1109, Ditech Servicing LLC versus Jerry Perez, DBA Lighthouse Investments. Judge Commissioners, I will proceed as directed, as discussed in closed session. Item 28E, discussion Discussion, consideration, action regarding appointment of County Veteran Service Officer. Judge Commissioners, I will proceed as directed, as discussed in closed session. Item 28F, cause number C 1013-21-D, Beatriz Garcia versus Hidalgo County, DBA, Judge Mario Ramirez Juvenile Justice Center. Judge Commissioners, I'd like for the court to entertain a motion in settlement of Beatriz Garcia versus Hidalgo County, DBA, Judge Mario Ramirez Juvenile Justice.
With authority to execute the.
Right, with authority to execute all
negotiated settlement
the
agreement.
compromise settlement and release indemnity agreement.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And item 28G, cause number C 1863-20-E, Nina Diales and George Lopez versus County of Hidalgo et al. Judge Commissioners, there's no action to be taken this week. I will ask the court to go to 27A, no action, and 27B, no action. There's no need for item 29 or 30, so those will be no action. So Judge Commissioners, I believe that concludes our court session for today. For the record, our next court session will be August 9th, and that will be a morning session. August 9th, a morning session.
Do you have authority to engage an outside lawyer on 24B?
Yes, sir, and all related ancillary services that are required.
You do?
And-
On
yes.
that motion? All right. Okay. I think that concludes all our agenda items. Might I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Motion passes.
Thank you.